Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Growth Path. Today we have somebody on that's very interesting. We've had a couple of interesting people on that are not necessarily the typical business people that we sometimes have on here. We've also had astronauts on as well before, Taylor, just so you know. We've had somebody that served in the International Space Station. But today we have Taylor Jensen. Taylor's background, he's the current world champion of longboarding, surfing obviously. In 2011 and 2012, he was the ASP World Longboard Champion. 2017, the WSL World Longboard Champion. 2018, Relic World Longboard Champion. 2024, WSL, which is the World Surf League World Longboard Champion. He also has he's also designed his own Taylor Jensen series of surfboards. So today we have a surfer on. So Taylor, great to have
Thanks,
you on,
Andy.
mate.
Appreciate it. Stoked to be here.
Yeah, man. So you've won a couple of awards, so to say,
Yeah,
right?
I've got a couple plastic trophies in the cabinet. Yeah, look, I've been really fortunate. I've dedicated my life to this sort of pursuit of capturing trophies and titles, and yeah, I've been successful.
How did it start, man? Bring me back.
It started, geez, probably I started surfing around the age of 6, so pretty young. Started competing around the age of 13 in like a local memorial event that was just in my hometown. And then once I kind of got the bug, I was competitive by nature. I played team sports, like I love that competition format. And once I got the bug that I could like do that on a surfboard in the ocean, I was hooked, and it was pretty much game on from then on. So about the time I hit 13, I just went, yeah, pretty much full throttle, full steam ahead. I want to be a professional surfer, and that's all I care about.
Amazing. So, like this professional athlete thing, it's like it's interesting. Do you think that you need to start at such a young age in order to be able to compete at the top? So you started at
Yeah, I
6,
started
right?
at 6.
So this is always a
I
question,
mean,
right?
it definitely gives you a little bit of an edge, right? It's just ingrained in your system if you start early. But these days, I mean, kids are starting even younger than that. Kids are starting at 2 and 3, and they're like pretty much getting famous through social media by the time they're 6, 7, 8, 9, getting barreled by the time they're 10. It's gotten exponentially harder, I think, to be successful without starting early. But it's not to say you can't if you have that natural ability, or you have the ability to get to a wave pool and get that repetitive format on a man-made wave that's perfection. You can expedite the process and get better quicker, but it's definitely an advantage.
So do you think you have that in your genes, Taylor? Is that something that's inherent to you, that drive to be able to compete at that level? Do you think there's, or do you think everybody has that? They just need to unlock it.
I don't know. My dad was really heavily into sports growing up, so I've definitely inherited some of that. Yeah, I think you're either competitive by nature or you're not. I do think that that's a hard thing to teach someone how to be competitive with somebody else, or in a certain sport. I think that that's hard, but if you're competitive by nature, you can teach people how to compete and they can learn. Or if they have the skills, you can teach them formats and formulas on how to win. But overall, it is you kind of either born with a competitive head or you're not.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we also I think it's a mix of competitive edge, but then also be willing to put in the work, right? So obviously you've won everything you can win, I guess, right? A number of times, like you're at the top of your game. You're at the top of the league when it comes to what you can do, right? Like in order to get there, how challenging has it been? It's something you committed your life to. You love doing it, but at the same time, it's been a. I guess there were times when it was a slog,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. I mean, for example, I got on the tour straight out of high school, 2002, and I didn't win my first world title until 2011. Like that's a pretty prime example of, year after year after year of loss after loss after loss of putting in time and effort in 12 months of the year, just training for one event just to try and win a world title and coming up short over and over and over again. So you definitely have to have some perseverance and just some stubbornness, I guess it is. You just have to want it that bad that no matter what's going to happen, you're going to get through it and you're going to figure it out. And once I got the first one, the other ones definitely came a little bit easier. I think I believed in myself a little bit more after 11 years of failure. But yeah, it's a slog. Like even now, it's still a slog. Like you're putting in a lot of time and effort for these couple key events throughout the year. Like that can be over because Mother Nature doesn't send a wave your way. Like you kind of, it's not like you're in a level playing field where you go and whatever it is, you throw a dart at a dartboard. Like it's not, we don't have that. We're dealing with Mother Nature. So if the wave doesn't come, the wave doesn't come, and it's not your day, and you have to eat that and somehow, somehow swallow that pill and move on to the next one.
Do you find so with the variable there, just to focus on that Mother Nature being a variable that's you can never predict, right? To a certain, well, you can to a certain extent, but not as much as you can other things, right? Do you feel as though, okay, you waited 9 years to get your first world title, and then you've managed to gain a couple more on top of that? Do you find, I hear sports people talk about this quite a bit, that like luck plays a big role, but it's not necessarily like you make your own luck. So by you like working hard, having the mental resiliency in order to get to the next stage, to get another title under your belt, you're just riding that wave. Sorry for the pun. My apologies for the pun. That's horrific. You're right. You're riding that wave to get like to keep on getting those additional world titles, and that luck just keeps going as you keep on riding it, right? But you're creating more of it by the momentum that you're putting behind yourself.
Yeah,
You see it that way?
100%. That's exactly what it is. I mean, you're basically playing the odds. You're putting yourself in the best possible position, doing all the things that you possibly can control, and then you just got to kind of let it roll. Like you put all your dominoes in a row and hit the first one and hope they just sort of knock each other the rest of the way, and the wave comes and everything lines up. And most often, like I've found it does, and it's when you make a mistake that you lose. So if you just kind of put all your ducks in a row and roll the dice and see what happens, it's kind of fun like that too. It keeps the excitement in a surfing event. Like 30 seconds left to go, there's waves on the horizon. Will he get the score? Like there's a lot of drama to that, and I think it's really cool to watch, and it's rad to be a part of.
I can only imagine, man. I can only imagine. Like the thing that like I find fascinating in your story here is that the mentality piece, the mental resiliency, right? So you mentioned that as soon as you left high school, you went on the tour, right? Took you 9 years of 9 years of losses essentially to get that win, right? And that needs to be mentally tough. But like after you win that first one, to go back and motivate yourself to do it again and then again and again and again. So I want to just focus in on that. The first part of those 9 years of like just trying to get there. How was that mentally? How did you manage to push yourself and motivate yourself? And then once we get to that, I want to focus on beyond that to get the next title after you won the first one and beyond.
Yeah, looking back on it, it's kind of, I'm a little bit surprised at myself that I kept going. Um, to put it in perspective, I started when I came onto the tour in 2002. I was winning the world title going into the final event, which like that was crazy. So I was like, oh, it's within reach, and then I lost. And then every year after that, it was like a third or a fifth or a ninth or a third or a second, it was just like it was so close that I could taste it. And I think because I dedicated so much of my life to this, like there was no backup plan. I didn't go to college. I didn't get a degree. Like I didn't have a backup plan. I went all in. This is what I love. This is all I want to do. I don't care who tells me no or tells me it's not possible. I'm gonna go for it. So I think that kind of that not having a backup plan maybe pushed me a little bit too. And yeah, it's just sheer determination and the fact that I think I was doing what I loved. Like I'm riding waves. I'm getting to travel the world with friends and family and like see all these beautiful countries and meet incredible people and eat amazing food and like keeping it in perspective like that, like I'm basically living the dream. Win or lose, I'm still getting all these experiences I would have never got. So I tried to keep it in perspective that way, and then yeah, it finally all came together in 2011.
How did that feel? So when you got that first one, was it like this is unbelievable, or was it like oh, we're here now, great, on to the next one?
That was unbelievable. There was so much like build up to that one world title. Such a release, like just like a weight off my shoulders. Like I'd kind of been touted as this kid who was going to win a world title at some point, and I had a lot of like the older guys who I was coming up against, like, man, it's just a matter of time. Like pulling me aside after events, like seeing that I was heartbroken losing, being like, dude, it's only a matter of time. Like you're going to get one. Just keep at it. And so that finally, like just that release and just like that, oh, I'm a world champ. Like I got it. I got one. Like that's insane. And for like a couple weeks, it was like that. And then my mind just clicked into like, I want another one. I don't want to be like a one-time world champ where is it a fluke? Did he get lucky? Did Mother Nature just give him the wave? Whatever it was like. No, I'm going to prove that this is like, I am that good to go back to back. I want two, I want three, I want four. And yeah, it's just kind of snowballed from there. And then now I'm at a place where I have four, which is more than any other current longboarder in recent history. The only other guy who is there is actually my father-in-law. Um, so now I'm like chasing his records, and I'm just putting out my own goals. Like I just want five to prove to myself that I can do it, and kind of get a little redemption for that 11 years.
Oh shit, man. So when are you competing again? So when is
So
the
our
next one?
tour kicks off in July in Huntington Beach. We go from there to Bells Beach in Australia in September. Then we go to Abu Dhabi and surf in a wave pool in October, and then we finish in El Salvador.
So it's a long tour, right?
Yeah, I mean it's only four events, but it's spaced out. We're kind of back and forth and all over the globe, so it's a little bit taxing, but it's good. It's great locations. We got consistent surf at all locations, which is a huge piece of the puzzle when you're dealing with Mother Nature. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to get back on the road and try and back this one up.
How's the training going at the moment?
Good. I've entered the phase where I kind of just like to enjoy myself after the tour finishes. At the end of the year, like going into Christmas and stuff, I want to eat what I want to eat, and I want to just kind of lay back and cruise and hang out with my kids and my family. So I overindulge a little bit in that Christmas pudding, and yeah, I put on a little bit extra weight. But every year I do the same thing around this time. I start cutting weight, start training harder, start mentally getting prepared, and just sort of setting into the flow that I like to find. And yeah, it's going good so far. I feel like I'm ahead of schedule and ready for what's ahead.
Nice, still super stuff, man. Super stuff. And tell me, like, so do you reckon you'll hang up the board? I don't know what you say, sir, but do you reckon you'll hang up the board after you get the fifth, or do you think you'll? No, I want to go pursue.
Honestly, I don't think
What's your
so.
where's
I
your head
don't.
at?
My problem is like I look at it like this. If I retire while I'm still at a level where I could win, I'm going to be sitting here thinking, what if, for the rest of my life. And
Hmm.
I can't do that. I'm the guy who needs to be like put out to pasture. I want everybody to get like put me out to pasture, knock me off the tour, get rid of me, and then I'll walk away and I'll be happy with that because I know that I've done it for as long as I could. Like I said, I'm living the dream. I'm traveling the world surfing and calling it a job. Like that's a dream. Win or lose, right? That's a dream. So
Yeah, man.
I think for me, like I want to do that for as long as I possibly can, and staying on tour allows that longevity in my career. So I'm gonna keep going as long as I can go. And if that's five, awesome, six, great, seven, killer. Yeah, I'm just gonna try and better myself every year and see what I can do.
That's an amazing mentality, man. I've seen a lot of professional sports people, specifically in sports where it requires a lot of concentration. So an example would be golf, right? Or even like I'm more familiar with rugby. Rugby's I'm a big passionate rugby fan. Played rugby for a long time. It's a lot of mental stuff that happens in a game of rugby. Like the 90% of a game in rugby, although it's a high contact sport, 90% of it's won mentally, and that's the same probably across a lot of sports. And 10% is the physicality. Obviously, you have to be physically fit and strong in order to play, but a lot of it comes from the mentality of a team. And you see a lot of teams working with psychologists, sports psychiatrists, etc. Do you work with anybody to keep you mentally
I
focused?
personally don't. I've always just had an odd ability to lock in myself and handle it myself. I don't take losses too hard. I don't over celebrate wins. Like I know the job at hand and what it takes to get there and what I need to do. And I don't. We have that available through the WSL. They have a person who they work with who is available to us should we want or need to. But yeah, for me, I've got my family by my side at events. Like my wife's pretty much my therapist, so she can I can bounce things off her, and she puts me in check pretty quick and pulls me up when I'm being silly.
That's good. That's good. Well, I'm lucky to say I have the same here. So the boss here at home keeps me in check. That's for sure. But okay, so tell like obviously we spoke about like once you get to a certain point where you're not able to go anymore, you want to go out to pasture. What's beyond surfing then? So obviously you've been working with a brand that you've designed your own you've designed your own surfboard line for. Is that the direction that you want to go beyond surfing afterwards? What have you put much thought into that?
Yeah, I put a ton of thought into it. What does life look like after traveling the world tour, especially? I mean, surfing's not something you ever retire from. It's something you can do into your 80s. So for me, I'm always going to
Mm.
continue surfing, but I think, beyond what is professionally traveling the tour and competing, yeah, the board stuff's amazing. Like I get to work with shapers that I want to work with. We get to create surfboards that enhance the way that you ride certain types of waves. And like that process of like starting with a block of foam and then having a shaper shape something based off of me telling them, hey, I want the board to do A, B, and C, and I want it to feel like this under my feet. They give me that, I ride it, I give it back to them and say, hey, it needs to feel more like this and a little bit faster or whatever it may be. Like that creative process for me is super fulfilling. So if I could just do that for the rest of my time as a profession before I'm like retired and sitting on a beach drinking Mai Tais, then that would be my dream because I love what I get to do. Like it's fun, it's cool, and it keeps me surfing and it keeps me excited. Like it's just it's given me a different sort of, I don't know, it's given me a different passion in surfing where like it was always about me and riding waves. And now I have this passion where it's like creating a surfboard for other people to ride and for them to get their maximum enjoyment out of their time in the ocean. Like, what a cool thing to be able to kind of share with other people and then get their messages back like, oh man, I got this board and I love it so much. It's like changed my surfing or it's made me feel like a kid again or whatever it may be. Like that feedback and that relationship to a consumer is so cool.
That's amazing, man. It's also keeping your like I can see how passionate you are about it as well, right? So it's keeping you something that started as probably as a hobby, right? That then brought you like this amazing career you've managed to travel the entire world with, right? You've managed to be incredibly successful, top of your game, win up until this point for world titles, right? And then to be able to go beyond that and say, okay, I want to keep on going at my passion here and just maybe take it in a different direction to be able to take your knowledge and then put that under somebody else's feet when they're out there. That's an amazing way forward, right?
Yeah, it's so cool. Like, what a cool sort of transition when that time comes. But it's something I can still do while I compete. So it's rad. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy getting to talk with customers and like people who bought a board and hearing their feedback and just the validation. Like I'm over here and I'm creating something and it's how it feels to me and like how it works for me. And then we
Mm.
go and put this thing out to the market and it's like I get so nervous and anxious. I'm like, "Man, I don't know, like what if they don't like it? Like what if it doesn't feel the same way to them? Or like what like it's a stressful period. And then once it's out and I start getting the feedback, I'm like, okay, like, good. They feel what I feel. Like that's rad.
Of course, it's your
Yeah,
baby.
exactly. Exactly.
It's your baby, right? You do. Yeah, yeah. So like just on that, because like obviously you've got you're touring, right? So you're starting from July up until November touring, right? Then you're training after because we just spoke about Christmas, post Christmas, after all the turkey and ham or whatever you're eating at Christmas, then you put on a bit of weight, so you need to start training, dropping weight. There's a focus of building up to the tour, right? So let's say from January until November, you've got tour stuff, and then you've probably got on top of that then the stuff that you're doing with designing boards, etc. So how do you find balancing everything? And you also have a young family, right? You've got two kids, and obviously like with them, you need to find time for family, etc. How do you balance it all?
Yeah, it's a tricky situation for sure. I mean, the boards and the surfing and the tour and stuff kind of go hand in hand. Like we're designing as we go. We're designing boards
Mm.
for events and waves, so that all kind of flows pretty easily. And then it's just trying to find the balance with the family and the
Mm.
kids. I'm fortunate that we homeschool our kids, so they're there 24/7. So when there's time in between or there's days where I'm not doing anything and stuff, it's devoted to them. They also surf, so we surf as a family. Great activity to do, spend time at the beach with your kids and your family. That's a great way to spend time. And yeah, I've got a great, super supportive wife who's a surfer, and they travel the world with me. They're at all the events with me. They don't miss one. So yeah, everybody's in tow, and we're just having a good time. The kids get to learn about the world through travel to these events with me, and yeah, we're just having fun.
That's amazing stuff, man. It's amazing stuff. Well, hey, look, we've just come up on time,
Cool.
Taylor. Tell me a little bit about where people can find you. Where can people find you?
Easiest way to find me is
Best way to
just
get you.
Instagram at Taylor Jensen TJ. That's the quickest, easiest way to find me. There's stuff all over Firewire's YouTube as well if you want to check out boards and things like that. Head over to YouTube, just type in Taylor Jensen, stuff will start popping up.
Amazing. Taylor, thank you so much for your time today, mate. It's been a great
Awesome. Thank
pleasure.
you, Andy. Really appreciate it.
Cheers, mate. Guys, this has been another episode of Growth Path. Tune in next week for more great content. Thanks, Taylor.
Thank you, Andy.